Hello, Arrow.
Hello and good morning. How are you doing this morning, Angeline?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm going to start it off by saying this. I've been with many elders and I've been with many Native American medicine men, and they've said our stories are going to go away because nobody wants to write them. And yet, here we are. We're sitting here today, Angeline, and you've got a story that involves your Native American ancestors.
Yes, it does. So my second book is Warrior Girl Unearthed. It's out today, and I pitched it as Indigenous Lara Croft, but instead of raiding tombs, the main character is raiding museums to retrieve stolen ancestors and sacred items and bring them back home.
This is very close to my heart because here in North Carolina, as they go out there and clear out the land, we're finding a lot of Native American arrowheads as well as tools that they use in order to survive. And I keep telling people, you've got to give it back to the people. It is not yours to keep. Sure, it's a great moment when you find it, but you've got to give it back to the people that really truly own it.
I agree.
For you to write about this, what was the journey like? Did you feel like that there was somebody standing beside you the entire way saying, Angeline, this is where we got to go with this story?
I think there definitely were times where the story felt bigger than me, and that I felt certainly a sense of responsibility to, my ancestors. And then there's so many great people that are doing repatriation work, and so I really wanted to tell their stories.
It's got to be an enormous feeling, as well as got to be energy, because you're releasing it to those who don't know the story, and there's a lot of those people that are going to be in those shoes. I just want them to feel, like, wow, she's sharing something that is very important to me.
Yes, and I think that's why, I love writing young adult, and just to have this 16-year-old girl, Perry, who is reluctantly working this summer internship at her tribe's museum and learning about this issue, about repatriations and all of the loopholes and, her outrage and call to activism. I just really wanted that to inspire other teen readers to really think about their communities and the causes that they believe in.
Ooh, you see my favorite word, community. That is what it's all about. I am also in love with the title, Warrior Girl. We always assume, only because that's the way we were taught, that warriors are guys. We don't see warrior girls, and I'm so glad that you've empowered girls to have that honor of being called a warrior.
Yes, and actually it's based on an actual ancestor who was a teen, and she was buried with her knife, a flint blade, which was unusual. And her body had shown some evidence that she had been in a fight before and had sustained a knife wound and had recovered. And so really that's Perry meets the warrior girl in a museum and is just called to action to try to bring her back home.
I have to be able to see the pictures in order to present it on a page. How did you see it as these scenes were starting to come out of your imagination?
I'm like you, Arrow. I'm a visual person, and so I really need to see the scene play out in my mind, sometimes seeing it from a different character's perspective, but really just trying to see how it unfolds visually and then describing that.
The way that you write, and this is a writer to a writer here, and a lot of people may not understand this, but the way you write, it's almost like you took long walks in between different thoughts, because I walk into a forest to get inspiration from the deer. Well, I have a hawk in this forest that I live in. I've got all these different animals. Do you find yourself doing that too, taking walks and really connecting with everything around you?
I do. I really love walking, and then I live on Lake Michigan, and so to me just being near water and the sound of the waves and watching storms roll across the lake, I just feel so nourished and creative.
Yeah. So then, do you feel that Warrior Girl Unearthed is giving readers an opportunity to see themselves? It's like, oh my God, there are other people like me. I feel like I am this person.
Absolutely, yes.
In making that connection, though, what was your connection in the real world before you stepped into the writing world for you to have this thing about you and the way that you write that connects you to readers?
Well, I was my tribe's education director, and then for a while I also supervised our cultural division, and we had staff that were doing repatriation work, and we even were able to repatriate one ancestor from a museum in Germany, which has no legal obligation to return any of our ancestors. And it took a solid 10 years of relationship building before we were able to get those remains back home.
Is there a favorite Native American tool or a piece of history that you cherish? Because I have a coup stick here that was handmade by an elder that was given to me. I love my coup stick, but at the same time, I have so many other things that have been shared with me. What is one of your favorite items that really brings out the history in your soul?
I have a black ash basket that was made by my grandmother, and the weaving is just gorgeous, and the way that she used plants as dyes for the strips of the basket splints, and I just, the basket's not in very good shape, but just knowing that my grandma made it with her own two hands from trees that probably came from Sugar Island, it grounds me and it connects me and makes me feel close to her.
Are we going to hear other stories from Sugar Island? Because as you talk about, you love watching the waves. It's almost like the land is speaking directly through you.
Yes. So I have a great idea for my next book, and we'll see what happens.
In this book here, what is the one thing that you want readers to take from it? Because every writer likes to plant a seed in order for them to grow in their own way. What is that one seed that you think you planted?
The ownership over Native bodies, past and present, and how wrong that is, and even with legislation such as NAGPRA, we still have museums and institutions dragging their feet to return ancestors whose tribes are saying we want them back.
Yep. See, this is what the elders were telling me. They need people like yourself to start that conversation. Don't be the silent generation. Be the one that starts the conversation.
I have faith in our young people, and so I hope that my book ends up in their hands, and I hope it inspires some of them to work on this.
Do you find yourself wanting to travel to other parts of the country to hear their stories as well? And the reason why I bring that up is because not even 3 miles from this house are these huge boulders where nations lived in the 1400s, and I go there to feel the energy even today. Do you find yourself doing the same thing?
Well, I love going across the country and engaging with readers, and I do like to hear their stories. And finding that we have some similarities, but then also being aware that each tribe is so unique. And I just think we've always had great storytellers. We just weren't necessarily getting the book deals. And so I hope that right now we're in an exciting time, because I know of many Native writers that are finally getting wonderful book deals, and we get to see their stories.
And you're doing it in a way, Angeline, that isn't about, okay, this is the way we once were. You're putting it in a moment where it's like, oh my God, this could really happen right now.
Yes, exactly. I wanted, because we still exist. We are here, and we live modern, dynamic lives. And if you only read about us in the past, it's a serious miseducation.
Yeah. Oh, the great creator has blessed your soul. Oh my God, I just cannot wait to talk with you more and more in the future, Angeline.
Oh, I would love that, Arrow.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
All right, you too. All right, Miigwech, thank you.